Good afternoon. Today is the 9th of July and this is a Slightly Shambolic Shuffle around the 2023 BMC and Leyland Show at the British Motor Museum, part 6. I do apologise in advance if there's any wind noise, if I get things wrong, if I fall over, if I get interrupted by announcements or other people filming. I'm afraid that's just the way that it goes on this channel. So we're on the Cambridge Oxford Owners Club stand again, and we've got something special here. This is a 1976 Austin Apache. It's built by Lakor in South Africa. This was similar to the Austin Victoria that was built in Spain, and it's basically an updated version of the ADO 16 design. It is just amazing. It's just absolutely incredible to see one of these in this country and in this sort of condition as well. It's got I think different door handles than the ADO 16. It's got completely different rear end. It's made a lot later than the ADO 16s were in this country. It's just amazing. Next to it we've got an early Farina wall sleeve. This is a 1560. Autofocus, not again. I think this would be about 1960, something like that. Yeah, probably 62. Thank you, 62. Probably actually, if it's a 1560, then it's a late registration on this. So we'll go actually to the back row. Why don't we go to the back row first, actually? We saw some of the cars on this stand in the previous part. But we'll look at this Westminster, very late Westminster actually. 67, 68 registration with the straight 6 engine. I wonder if this is a manual or an auto. They did make manuals. Oh, it's a manual. Excellent. With overdrive. 1970 to 71 Wolseley 1660. So you can see actually the 1660s do have different fins. This is a very late one. This is right at the end of production. It finished in 71. Actually, the heritage certificate here will tell me it's a 1970. So we've still got a column change in this, I think. See, the rear end is actually different from this one. Front end's a little bit different, but similar. So we've got another one here with 1.8 engine in it, MGB wheels, different interior, 68, 69 registration, and that is it's an Oxford Series 6. Early Cambridge here, so the A55 Mark II, floor change. And again we've got the earlier grille on this one. I think we were talking on one of the previous parts about how this design of Austin van and pickup continued until 73. Well, yeah, it did. This one's a 70 to 71. It's quite a late one for these, but you can see actually they went to this design in 59 and we just kept with this one all the way until 73. It just kept going and going and going and going. They had Austin and Morris badges on it. That's very tempting. What end do we start at? Let's go this way. Let's not trip over that chair. My favourite of all the Farina cars. 1965 Riley 472. Riley is my favourite because you get luxury and you get sporty things. You've got an uprated engine, you've got rev counter, you've still got wood, you get, as you can see, a manual gearbox. Wolseley was more luxury, the MG was more sporting. With a Riley, you got both. That is wonderful. It says the life of Riley. Wonderful. 1964 Austin A60 Cambridge. In contrast from this one here, the grille is quite different, and also so is the rear end. But this is a different matter altogether. It's the larger Vandenpla Princess 3 litre Mark II once again. We've seen quite a few of these, haven't we, seemingly? Oh, and that interior. Oh, it's more biscuit than beige, but that's still really nice, and I do like it very much. The manual as well, it's a 3-speed manual. It looks like a Wolseley police car, but of course it's not. It's not a Wolseley police car. And then next to it, an A55. I just have to check the back of this to see if this is actually a Cambridge or Westminster. Let's do that carefully. And this is the A105, so with the 6-cylinder, this is also a Westminster. It's one of the later ones of this body shape. Or was that the earlier A96 there? Wonderful. So it's a 1956. So this has all sorts of funny work on it. Unfortunately, we can't dwell too much on that, viewers. We need to sort of get on, but interesting nevertheless. Let's not trip over that light there. Oh dear. We've almost fallen over twice already so far, viewers, and I'm determined not to do it again. So MGA with the strangest exterior door I've ever seen on a coupe. That one is a 1600, just one of the later ones. 1966, I think this is an Austin 1800. Modified for competition. Oh, this is the first one, VLT1G, I think. We've got an information sheet here. We'll take a look at. Oh, sorry. Oh, that was just about the thing itself. Never mind. This to me looks like a very early Mark II. Yes, it's got a different rear lights. It must be a Mark II. Let's not fall over. Oh, hello. Yeah, this one's a Morris, 67, 68. Go around this way just so we don't fall over people. And let's just get this right. It must be an MGB actually, because it's not got the bulge on the bonnet, so it's not an MGC. MGB marathon car restoration. Excellent. See, yeah, there we are. All together. And we'll have a look as well at this Triumph 2.5 PI 6970 registration. My gosh, imagine taking a journey in one of these at the time with everybody telling you, oh, that fuel injection system's going to be a nightmare. If you looked after it and you sort of kept an arm temperature gauge and it ran properly, then they didn't tend to be that bad. They were quite bad, but they weren't quite as bad as they could have been. 1966 Austin Healey Frog Eye Sprite. There's something funny going on here, viewers. This, I think, is an earlier chassis with a later chassis with an earlier body in it, and also the full instrumentation pack suggests to me there's something suspicious going on here. So this is being rebodied, I think, this car or something. And then we got a Sprite Coupe. I don't know what these were called actually, but that looks good. 67, that one is. And then we've got a late sort of pre-rubber midget there, 73, 74, and then a rubber bumper itself. I think these look all right. Like the MGBs, the rubber bumpers don't look that bad. I mean, a lot of people don't like them, but this in this sort of condition looks really nice. I've driven a midget. It was a Mark III from 1968. It's not here today actually, because the owner's in one of his other cars. 77, 78 registration. See again, there's a bit of a different interior going on from the earlier ones. So this is a Sprite. It's a Mark II Sprite, this one, with the sort of hard top on it. So it'd be 61 to 63, I think they were. And then again, this one, I don't know what this is. This is, I think, the earlier sort of type Frog Eye with a sort of coupe body on it. Interesting. So we've got a really old car here. Fortunately, somebody's provided me with an information sheet. It's a Riley, and it's from 1929. It's a Riley 9 Tourer, otherwise known as Victoria Plum. It's probably to do with the colour. MG Magnet here. Let's have a look at the rear window. Tell me if it's an an earlier or later one. I think this is the ZA. I think the ZB's got an even bigger rear window. And look what's just turned up, viewers. Oh my gosh, I am in the right place at the right time. It's an Austin Ambassador and it's on a Y-Reg. Yes, viewers, it's one up from the base, this one. It's a 1.7 HL. The 1.7L that was used in 500 bus stops in the late 90s by Graham Fellows and John Shuttleworth was the base model. It was in sort of beige. It's GPP 649Y. This is not the same car. It's a little bit different from that one. Let's get out of the way of this van until I get run over. But wow, I was hoping I'd seen Austin Ambassadors today, viewers, and my wish has been fulfilled. I'd quite like to go in one of these actually. So Mini Cooper register, Warwickshire region. We've got a lot of cars on the stand. We'll go through them. So 1990, 1991 Mini Cooper, one of the sort of revival Coopers. Very sort of standard looking spec actually. We've got a much earlier one. This is 1965. It's funny that even by that stage you didn't get locks on the door handles. You just let somebody open your car. Although it was an option, I think, on some Minis. So that's a 970. Gosh, wow. It's a Cooper S Mark 1. And then we've got very late Mark 2 here. Very late on an H, so 69 only. Austin Cooper Mark 2. I've actually got some door locks this time. Don't fall over that light fitting. See, they do look a bit different, don't they, from the Mark 1s. Another Mark 1 here, I think. Pre-suffix plate on that, so... I wonder if this is one of the competition cars. RX was Berkshire back on the day. And as well, a lot of the competition Coopers were registered. They were registered at Abingdon, which was in Berkshire at the time. It's not now. 1964. Austin Mini Cooper S, again, Berkshire plate. Interesting sort of interior fabric someone's put in there. Right, yeah. See again, there's a Mark 1 and here's a Mark 2. Another late Mark 2. Austin Mini Cooper Mark 2. This is an S model. When the Mark 3 Minis came in late '69, they got rid of the separate Austin Morris marks, by the way. Another one here, Austin Mini S, Mark 1. Another one of these late Mark 2s. They seem to be breeding here today. There's tons of them. Trying to fall over views, that's what's best. Modified by Downton. And we've got this much more modern Mini here, but I think is probably from the 1980s. And with Eddie Stobart colours on it. Interesting. It's 1990, I was almost right, it's in 1990. One of the early sort of revival Coopers. And then again, this looks like a Mark 1. It's left-hand drive. Wow. It's a Cooper S. Let's not trip over here, viewers. There we go. Mini 1275 GT. 7475 registration. National Rally Championship Group 1 winner. I think this is Aquamarine, this 64. It's Cooper S. Why do you get just one door lock on the driver's door and don't get one on the passenger door? So this is a 68 Morris Cooper S Works replica. There you can see that the rear lights are completely different of these Mark IIs, aren't they? 1275 Cooper S Mark II. Morris badges on it, this one. And the Mark 1. It's by Speedwell. Yes, Speedwell. I've heard of Speedwell. One of the many tuning companies you could get for H series engine cars back in the day. There were lots of them. And another Mark 2. 69 only on an H. That's I think 4 or 5 69H Mark II mini compressors. That's a record, surely. Well, you know, this is the sort of show where the Wiggly Monkey Brewery turns up in an Armstrong-Siddeley Star Sapphire, because of course it is. Isn't that just fantastic? And actually, look, the beer barrels are actually inside the car. Wonderful. Now that is very nice views. 1971 to 72 Austin 1300 GT with a lime flower interior. I don't know what the name of this colour is here, but that's a lime flower interior, and we like that very much, don't we, viewers? It's very similar to the 1300 GT for the Great British Car Journey that I filmed back in January this year, which a lot of you seem to enjoy. So we have Morris Traveller here. This, I think, is an early Mark III from memory. That's a 1300. I always forget about the Traveller and Countryman versions of the AD016, but here is one. Maxi 1750 HL, 78-79. I think by this stage we got rid of the Austin badge on these and just put Maxi on them. Don't know why, but there we go. Mark III Mini Cooper S. Let's see what year it is. It's 1970. Does it tell you what colour this one is? Yeah, bronze yellow. Okay. It's a nice colour, isn't it, with black roof? Oh yes, please, viewers. Like this very much. So it's Riley 1300 Mark II. Sometimes these are badges Kestrel, sometimes they're not. Apart from Van den Plas, these are my favourite type of AD016 actually. Look at that. You've got rev counter and everything. You didn't get rev counter on the Van den Plas. And you've got wood, and this one's a manual. You could get an auto. Not trip over that light. There we go. Excellent. 6869. Wolseley 1885 Mark II Auto. That is it's quite nice, really, isn't it? Wow, that's much plusher than some of the standard models with the Morris and Austin ones. That's much nicer, isn't it? That's really nice. And then another Van den Plas Princess 1100 63, very early one, of course, with the Moet champagne bottles, and we've actually got Van den Plas branded champagne flutes, which makes me feel exceptionally happy. And we've got a Rover 100 here, an early one actually, this Rover 100. It's a 95 only, in red, from all electric garages, which doesn't necessarily mean you're electric cars, just the name, I think. It's a 114 GSI, so most luxurious of all at the time. And then this just demonstrates, this 91-92 Metro van demonstrates that when the Rover Metro was introduced in 1990, they actually kept the vans going of this type for a few years later. That is in superb condition, isn't it? Let's go for some stag action now, viewers. We do like stags on this channel. Having driven one actually quite recently, it was in the last couple of months, as we would have seen. That one, I'm not sure what year that one is at all, personal plate, but this one, 77-78, one of the very last Mark IIs. I like the colour actually. It's mimosa yellow, this one, with the alloy wheels. We'll see if we can find a stag with the original steel wheels. They're quite rare, but they do exist. For one, I drove the original steel wheels on it. This one is another Mark II. The very late Mark IIs, as you can see, had a body coloured black panel. The earlier Mark IIs had this sort of black one, but unfortunately a lot of cars are sort of modified from Mark 1 to Mark 2 spec and vice versa, so it's quite difficult to understand which one it is unless you sort of see the registration. That's a Mark 2 and so's that red one, I think. Coach line on this. This one's a manual, that later one's an auto. You can get both. The one that I drove was an automatic like that one. This one has got very different wheels on it, and we have a nice sort of cream leather interior in this with wood. That's very nice, very agreeable. I think generally with the Stags you've got a vinyl interior, so they're both 73-74 on an M. This one is 75-76 on a P, with some mini light style wheels on this one and a manual gearbox. They are nice to drive. It's just the steering of them is a little bit light for my taste, but it's not a major problem really. It means when you park them you don't have big problems trying to wrestle them around. So this is a Mark 1 on a K, be a sort of 71 or 72. Yeah, it's a 72. One of the ways I think you can tell actually is where the interior lights are. This has got two. The later ones have just one. It's in the sort of T-bar roof. XC was a very popular suffix for British Leyland press cars back in the 70s, so this might have been actually registered by them themselves. But that's about the same colour as the one I drove was. Very nice. Let's have a look at some Dolomites, viewers. There's a couple here. 1977 Dolomite 1500 HL with sprint wheels. They wouldn't have originally had sprint wheels on them. Even the 1500 HL is quite smart with standard wheels on it. You put some sprint ones on it, it makes it look even better. This one's an auto. The Dolomite 1500 SE I had was a manual. This is a sprint though, an early one, 72-73 registration. I forget the name of this colour. It might be mostly yellow. They're worth a lot of money now, the sprints. Here we can see some different Spitfires. This is a later one. This one's had a 1.8 Ford engine put in it, a Zetec R, which is interesting, 77-78. So much earlier one here. This is a 1964 Spitfire. The very early ones had a 1.2 engine, and this one might be a Mark II. It's based on just saying no, it's a Spitfire 4, so it just does a 1.2. 1979 to 80. Spitfire 1500, so one of the very last actually, and that has a very interesting overdrive arrangement on the gill lever there. The wire wheels make it look a bit earlier than it is, but yeah, it's one of the later ones. We'll have a look at the GT6 here. These Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, they sort of kept changing the suspension arrangements of these. This one, I assume it's a Mark II, I don't know. So 67-68 on an F. 1966 Triumph TR4A. This will have the independent rear suspension, won't it? Yes, it does. They were very proud of that with TR4A's independent rear suspension. Mark III GT6 here with sort of cam back, I think they call it. 1971-72. Incredibly low, aren't they? I mean, I would really struggle to get in and out of one of those quickly. And a lovely Mark I Triumph 2000 with some lovely wheels in it. That's in really nice condition actually. It's obviously driven through some rain to get here, which I did as well, so that's not a problem. Oh wow, it's a 2.5 TC. Someone's actually put a later engine in that. That's interesting. Oh yes, actually that's a facelifted car, because it's got the overriders with the rubber inserts on them. That's a facelifted one. Very late TR7s, there's two very late TR7s. In fact, both of these are Solihull built cars. They're both 81-82 registrations. Both for 2 litre. For some reason they decided towards the end to badge for TR7s with 2 litre on the side of them, and the TR8s obviously had a different engine. Like this one, the 3.5 Rover V8. This one's a 1980. Let's have a look at the boot lock and see if it's a Canley or a Solihull built car. That is a Canley one. As you can see, the boot locks are actually different. Someone from the owners club at what told me that at the NEC last year, how to tell them apart, which is very handy. This is more along the lines of what I drove a Great British Car Journey earlier this year. Triumph Press Fleet car, AAC. 81 to 82, probably an 81. Shame they stopped building them, but they just thought it was not economical. It's rather like the MGBs and MG Midgets, really. Herald Coupe. Ooh, these are rare. I think that's a 1200. Yes, it is. Probably about 1963, something like that. So the Innsbruck facelift here. Of course, you can hear that C-Tech R, can't you? The 1.8 in that Spitfire. So 1972-73 Prime 2000 Mark II, which I have to say is very agreeable. Gosh, there's loads of them here. There's tons of them. I better keep going. Another TR8 here, 80 to 81 registration. I don't think it's an anniversary or anything. I think there's just loads of them here. TR8, another TR8, 81, 82 registration. Yeah, they're both Solihull built cars.
Daddy, that's Lucas. Yeah,
and then we've got this interesting one here, which is on a P plate, but I've feeling that this might have been one of the first ones with a V8 engine, but I could be totally wrong about that. Or it might be one of the Sprints. I have yet to see a TR7 Sprint today, but I think they're out there. Right, we've got some more tasty Triumphs here. I'm very happy to see so many lovely ones here today. 1969 to 70, Morris Minor Traveller Trafalgar Blue. We've seen quite a few of these, haven't we, viewers? But it's alright to see another one. Innsbruck Triumph 2.5 PI. It's really weird. It's had 2500 on the car, but I think they were also marketed as the 2.5 PI. I get very confused about that sort of thing, viewers, but I'm sure that you do too. So we've got an earlier 2.5 PI here, 68, 69 only. It says injection on the front, and then you can see the PI badge on the D pillar there. I don't know what it is, but I prefer the look of the earlier Triumph 2000 and 2.5 PIs. I don't know what it is, I just prefer the look of them. You can see this is a pre-facelift one. It's not got rubber inserts and the overriders. It's a 64 with the 4-speed manual. That's actually really, really nice in there. That looks superb condition. 1967, 1968 Triumph 2000. Actually, no, this will be a 69. What's he doing on an earlier plate then? These didn't come out till 69. I'm confused, viewers. Radio Caroline. Yeah, this is a really late one. 77, so it's only 76, 77, 2500S. By this time, the PI had been discontinued because of, well, reliability problems. Another 2000 here with these interesting wheel trims. 70 to 71 with overdrive. And then stag action here. Don't know what year this one is. It's got the personal plate on it with the optional alloys. It's an auto, this one. Then 1975-76 stag in oh dear, I don't know what colour this is. It's not vermilion or blaze red, that's for sure. It's something else. And then an incredibly late TR7 82-83 registration, one of the very last, I'd wager, with some very strange alloy wheels on it. Those look like an MGF or something. And someone else is off in there. Innsbruck Triumph 2000, what's that, a 72, something like that, sorry, 71, 72. Some friends in the back. Is that a husky dog? then we've got someone else's off in the Herald. This is a 1200. No, it's a Vitesse. It's completely wrong. I should know that sort of thing by now, because I spent a long time filming a Vitesse at the same time as I drove the Stag. I was at 6970, so it's a Mark II Vitesse. It's a very late one with a 2-litre engine. That might even have servo brakes if you're lucky. So we go back and have a look at the Stag. So cream Stag, like the one that I filmed on the channel actually. It's about the same era, 7071. So it's a Mark I, this one, but with later seats in it. And we've got TR4 here, rather than a TR4A. It's a little bit earlier. 1963. Spitfire with a hardtop. That looks very different for some reason, possibly because of the number plate and the sort of pieces that are reflected on the side of it. 72, 73. I think this is before the 1500. Someone's also put in a 5-speed gearbox with a Burton cylinder head. So this has been quite extensively modified, and yes, I was right. There are side repeaters on it as well. 1979 to 80. TR8. That's a very nice colour combination, by the way. That's really nice. So it's actually built in 78, registered a bit later, and we can look at the back and yeah, there we go. Canley built, obviously, registered in Coventry. So thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching part 6 of a Slightly Shambolic Shuffle. Sorry, I think it's part 5. I do apologise to you. Or whichever part it is. It's got really bad, hasn't it? Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, leave a comment below, and we shall see you again soon for more incorrect information.